Well, a very good evening and welcome to your Friday night My Albion TV live stream. The second in a week after that extraordinary game up at Aldershot on Tuesday night. Seagulls eventually came away with the 3-2 win with Caelan Vickers, the 93rd minute hero, and that was despite playing over 85 minutes with 10 men. And it's kept this brilliant winning streak going. They're now up to 6 wins in all competitions in a row. You'd imagine Shannon Ruth's side will be full of beans tonight. Luton Town are the visitors in the Premier League Cup, and the Albion could go top of the group with a win, but that will depend on the game at Reading kicking off at the same time as they host current group leaders Burnley. Well, it's been a busy few weeks for the Seagulls, so Shannon Ruth makes 10 changes to the side that started on Tuesday night, with Joe Knight the only one to remain despite his early red card. Lawrence Ferdinand gets a chance in goal. Callum Mackley makes his full debut at under-21 level after coming on for the final few minutes at Aldershot. Jacob Vickers comes in to face his old side. And then Rory McConville, who comes back in as captain, fresh from the news of being called up to the senior Northern Ireland squad. As for the Hatters, there are 5 changes from their last Premier League Cup game against Reading. Tate Xavier Jones will likely lead the attack. England Youth Internationals Joe Johnson and Zach Nelson are also in, with Aidan Francis Clark and Tyrrell Giwa bolstering the defence. And so Sunday is, of course, Remembrance Sunday. So ahead of the weekend, we will be marking that with a moment's silence. So perfectly observed. Neil Hare is the referee tonight, assisted by Coleman O'Meara and Sean Farrer. Lisa Ben is the 4th official. As I say, Rory McConville will be pretty proud after the week he's had, called up to the Northern Ireland senior squad in the week. And they're just going through the final formalities. Rory McConville wasn't involved on Tuesday night. And as I mentioned there, that was quite the occasion. Joe Knight sent off for a rather rash challenge 5 minutes in. So quite an ominous start. But we had to wait until the final 25 minutes for the goal scoring to open. So the Seagulls held out, went a goal down, then managed to turn it around to 2-1. Goals from Eiffel and Duffus. Aldershot levelled it up, but right at the end, Caelan Vickers, who is in red-hot goal-scoring form, was able to give the Seagulls their very first National League Cup victory. No Caelan Vickers involved tonight, so he's given a rest, but his namesake Jacob Vickers is in at the heart of the Albion defence, and he may have some early work to do here against his old side, Jacob Vickers, who he signed from last year. Very much used in the under-18s Premier League last season, but he's got his first few tastes of the under-21s with Shannon Ruth's side this term. Another who's had an international call-up recently there, just on the ball a moment ago at left-back Harry Mills, called up last month to the Cyprus under-21 squad. McConville looking down this near side. It's nice work in there from Callum Mackley. He's making his full debut at under 21 level tonight. He picks it up again here, the 18-year-old, assisted by Harry Howell. Looking down the middle for Moulton. First chance he's had to go at Aidan Francis Clark. No doubt that'll be quite the battle for the rest of the evening. Giwa just skipped inside there of Howell. There may be a breakaway on this near side. Giwa has it once more. Owusu was watching. Visitors just trying to remain patient on the edge of their own area. They play it out to Giwa on this near side. Ahead of him is Benega. Just dropping in deep there is Zach Nelson. It'll be interesting to see how they line up this evening. A lot of attacking players, out and out attacking players. This is one of them now, Nelson, who looks as though he's playing in the position he's got on the back of his shirt, number 10. Xavier Jones, Benega, also very attacking, and a number of defenders as well. In their last Premier League Cup game against Reading, it was a 3-5-2 formation. It does look as though they're all looking around actually, just to see exactly what it is. You can see the number 19 there, Tate Xavier Jones, looks to be the one spearheading the attack. Slight height difference between him and McConville. Clip forward, one for Bashir. Just to make Liam Coyne force the issue there. Bashir, one of those 10 changes from Tuesday night at Aldershot. Johnson down to Giwa. Smart turn there away from Howell. And he's into the Albion half, outside of the boot. That's not a bad ball there to Benega. And he finds the low cut across. This could be dangerous for the Seagulls. Under 4 minutes played. The first shy at goal, and it's the first goal of the evening. But it has gone to the visitors. Well, a breathtaking counter-attack on this near side, the left. It was Giwa who got away from a few in blue and white. Down the line it goes to Benega. It's a great cut across, very inviting. And it was Pinnington making the run from fullback. Makes no mistake, slots it past Ferdinand in the Albion goal. Seagulls trail, Brighton 0, Luton Town 1. Well, Giwa's teammates give him the plaudits there. He was able just to twist away from trouble and then find the ball, threading it through in that inside left channel. And the ball across was a good one. Easy enough finish really for Pinnington, arriving at the right time. Vickers gives it back to Ferdinand. Enjoying the possession outside of his area, looking to be an 11th outfield player, 11th outfield option when he can, Ferdinand. Well, only 5 minutes played, and Luton have something to protect. So they are just dropping that little bit deeper, which means that Moulton will try to come and pick it up. Nice layoff that from Howell. This is Mackley. Sorry, it's Howell on the ball now. Fed into him nicely there by Mackley, and he's just trying to get away from Benega. Knight just makes sure. This may well be what we could see a lot of this evening with the scoreline as it is. All the outfield players in the Luton Town half. For a moment there, Benega had a sniff, but Mackley can overturn possession once more. Floated out to that far side. Bashir was never going to win that one, but for a moment it bounced for Moulton. His opposite number, Nelson, just puts it out of play. Owusu finds a way to Knight. It's fizzed along the ground to Howell. Can he get the better here of Giwa? Likes just to drift inside when he can, Harry Howell, and he'll stay almost in that centre forward role. Wander into the box. Bashir now. Knight with the first time offload. Well, it's a decent enough reaction to going behind. Can they find some kind of an effort at goal? McConville gets it out of his feet. Side footed out to Howell. Matt clears the reinforcements if he needs him. But it's nice from Howell to win the first corner of the evening on this near side right. They go short. Moulton into Bashir. Howell now to deliver. And there's too much on that. Oh, he's not too happy with himself there. He's capable of superb delivery, just offers the hand of apology. It's still been some 2024 though for the 16-year-old Harry Howell. He's got 7 goals so far in all competitions this season. And he started the year with that winning penalty shootout effort against the Reading first team in the EFL Trophy. Maybe he can get on the end of this. This is Moulton though. Owusu into Knight. McConville now just stepping into Luton Town territory. Vickers gives it back to him. Just waiting for the right moment and the run to be made. Vickers once more. But as is so often the case with Shannon Ruth's side, absolutely no need to panic. Just over 8.5 minutes played, so all the time in the world to find a way back into this one. Switching it from left to right, and now back over to that far side. Vickers gets it back from Mills. Just will always remain as patient as they have to be. As Knight slots that ball down across to Mackley. Will it fall in there for Belmont? Not quite. But again, when they see the correct run, they're happy just to thread it through and then burst forward. And Moulton just invited forward. He's going to take on that role of collecting it from deep where he needs to. Jacob Vickers, signed from Luton Town last year. As I say, largely used in the under-18s Premier League up until the start of this season. Mills now. Just ahead of him is Bashir, but once more, happy to bide their time here, the Seagulls, with just under 10 minutes played. If you're just joining us, the Seagulls trail Luton Town because of a Pinnington strike with just under 4 minutes played. And since that point, it's just been the Seagulls knocking it around in the Luton Town half. Vickers just urged forward by his captain McConville, looking to get on the front foot where possible. Just allowed to drive a bit further forward. Now Moulton looking out to this near side is able to shape a ball out to Howell. This near side though, the Luton Town player does really well just to keep his eyes on that and nip in at the right moment, stab it away. Well, Howell wasn't ready for that one, so that just goes behind. Joe Knight it was dropping in deep, and Joe Knight it was with that rather clumsy challenge in the opening 5 minutes of the National League Cup game against Aldershot on Tuesday night. Turned out to be a fabulous performance from the 10 Seagulls players, winning that one 3-2 so late on. Goals from Eiffel, Duffus, and then Vickers right at the end to win it. Nice work there from Kayabanda to play it out right. The goal scorer Pinnington now back into the captain Bateson. Joe Johnson. This is the first time for a while that we've seen Luton Town with a little bit of time to slot a few passes around. That's a nice ball played in the channel there for Nelson. Now can just hold it up. Showed a little bit too much of it there to Owusu, so Bashir will try to win it straight back from Francis Clark. Kayabanda. Down that far side for Lorentzen Jones. Plenty of blue and white shirts back there. Johnson now looks out to this near side with Giwa. Benega is ahead of him, just marshalled there by Mackley, so the Hatters forced back towards halfway. There goes Moulton. We've seen him score in this kind of position before when the defence just show a little bit too much of the ball to Ramiro Moulton. That goal was against Derby County end of last month. Played into his feet. Bit of a gift, actually. That one was a bit more tricky to try and fashion possession back. It's good work, though, from Owusu to win it back. And here goes Moulton once more. Only for a moment, though. Number of orange shirts just converging around Ramiro Moulton. Just a good opportunity for Moulton tonight. He's got 3 goals in all competitions so far, but he's just trying to get in the mind of Shannon Ruth more permanently. Harry Howell, as I said earlier, he's got 7 goals in all competitions. And then Joshua Duffus, who's not involved tonight, he's up to 10 already. Barely a quarter of the season played. McConville, long for Howell. Howell in a race here with Giwa. Oh, and Giwa's just caught him a bit late there. Well, initially that looked as though perhaps it was a foul on Harry Howell, but it's gone behind for the corner, so the Albion won't be too frustrated, and they've taken it short. Howell. Neat little back heel to Moulton, who returns it. Once more Moulton across. So far, Luton Town have been up to the task defensively after nicking that early goal. Through the legs there of Howell. And now a chance for them to flood forward, especially over on that far side. Bit of space for Nelson now to drive into. This is the goal scorer Pinnington. It's nice work there though from Jacob Vickers, just retreating. Bashir just hits it into the chest there of Zach Nelson. When they break forward, though, they do pose a threat to Luton Town, so Seagulls will need to be wary as they go in search of the equaliser. Quarter of an hour played on My Albion TV Live. Brighton have Albion 0, Luton Town 1 in the Premier League Cup. Vickers gets it from Owusu. Now Vickers just waits for Xavier Jones in the centre of the picture there, just to try and goad him in. Ferdinand gets involved. Now looking for the switch to Howell again. Instead it's Mackley. Howell is the reinforcements just behind him. Knight is also there. Howell again, supported by Knight, who he finds now. Vickers up to Moulton. This now is Mills. Another chance for McConville just to step out from centre-back. Mackley out to Howell. Perhaps this will be the moment where they can find their way back. Headed only as far away as Bashir. Got to get past Benaga. Now Mills. Can he deliver? Low ball in. Target was Belmont. Oh, that looked a bit handsy from Joe Knight. And Neil Hare wasn't far away. So Belmont and Moulton watch on. Belmont, the Wales under-19 international, made his Premier League 2 debut against Derby last month. And there may be a chance for him to find his first Premier League Cup goal. Bashir, the run is being made by Moulton, who he finds now. This could be dangerous, perhaps the equaliser. Oh, it's just behind Howell. Build-up play is good down that left. It's largely been down this right, but caught them by surprise on that left flank. And Owusu maybe just works it over there now. Gets it back instead from Vickers. Jacob Vickers again. Moulton, who's doing well when he drops in deep, just starting to pull the strings. Well, you can see the visitors already desperately trying to protect their lead. And their keeper, Liam Coyne, hasn't had too much to do just yet, so that's credit to the group and the defensive unit of Luton. Howell returns it now to Knight. Oh, and they've shown a bit too much of that ahead of McConville. It was Nelson who was able to nip in, and then that's a yellow card brandished to Owusu, who was just looking to win it back high up straight after it was given away in front of McConville. So that gives the opportunity for Luton Town just to slow down the game. Worth noting as well that Dario Vidasic's WSL side are playing this evening. It was exactly the same kickoff time, so we will try to keep you up to date on the scoreline at the Emirates. But here comes Pinnington. Good block in there from Mills initially. Bashir is also on hand to nod it forward as far as Owusu. Bashir away from Pinnington. Just penned in a touch here. Owusu delivers it back into his own box, and Ferdinand takes control of the situation. Scoops it up slightly. This now is Kayabanda. And Benago's just switched over to the right. Could be a chance for two. United is able to stab it clear. And there has been a goal at the Emirates as well. She likes scoring against the Seagulls. Beth Mead has given Arsenal the lead. So it's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0 in the WSL. So not the best start for both Seagulls sides tonight. Plenty of time in both of them though. Lorenson Jones with the switch out to that far side. There was a bit of time initially. Now it's played into Nelson. Pinnington once more. Benega just crowded out for a moment, but Lorenson Jones is there, and helping out was Belmont. Just in the D there, goes down and helps out by winning the free kick. Tall figure of Owusu goes back into Vickers. Now McConville. Mackley. It's a neat ball forward into Howell. Knight's made a run ahead of him. Laid off to him by Belmont. Rides the challenge of Nelson and can bring Vickers into play. Mills wants it at his feet. Instead it's Owusu. Belmont. Neat offload from the Wales Youth International. Mackley once more. Howell ahead to Knight. Nice foundations to this attack. Clipped towards that back post over the head of Bashir. And Lorenson Jones can only nod it behind for the corner. First from that side, which Moulton is in a hurry to take. Midway through this first half. Albion 0, Luton 1 in the Premier League Cup, if you're just joining us. Jacob Pinnington it was with the opener inside 4 minutes. So Moulton ready to deliver. Whipped in. Good delivery, helped on. And there was some unfair jostling in the Luton Town area, according to Neil Hare, the referee tonight. So free kick. And well, both coaches will be relatively happy with what they've seen, even despite the early goal for Luton. Brighton have responded pretty well. So it's just Brighton 0, Luton 1. But at the Emirates, it is now Arsenal 2, Brighton 0. Caitlin Ford with Arsenal second. So that's not an easy task at all at the Emirates for Dario Vidosic's side. But you wouldn't put it past them. Great start to the season in the WSL. And still enough time to come back into that one. The same can be said here for the Seagulls. This is McConville now. Luton happy to tuck in once more. Moulton. Mills made the run in the inside channel, so Bashir can pick it up against Lorenson Jones. Just offloads there into Mills, who continued his run. Another corner for the Albion. And they're just starting to build up a bit more of a head of steam. There's not been a problem with the possession. It's just been about picking that pass and pulling the trigger, finding the urgency at the right moments. Howell just trots over there as a short option. But Moulton looking into the area again. Into the front post this time. Belmont closest to it, but the Luton Town defence get there first. Underway quickly again. Moulton. Back to Howell. Now McConville almost in the quarterback role at times. Howell wanted it and Howell picks it up against Kayabanda. Moulton. Owusu is the option centrally. Just bouncing around him, so perhaps that's what prevented him from letting fly. Doesn't matter though, because just holding on to the ball and waiting for the right time. Maybe this is it now. Mackley. Knight. Howell is there if he can find him, but Luton can hoist it up as far as halfway. Well, it's even better than that. Xavier Jones. Can he get the beating of Jacob Vickers? Looking to double their advantage, but there's too many in blue and white back there. Solid enough defending from the Seagulls. Mills it was who stole it away. And now again, Luton just look to shape up. Owusu out to Mackley now. Was able to find a way forward here to Howell. Knight just inside of him, outside of the boot, able just to square it. Well, not good news, I'm afraid, from the Emirates. The Seagulls now trail Arsenal 3-0. And we've had less than 26 minutes played. McConville looking out to the far side. Bashir just over his head. Well, he tried his level best to fling some kind of a body part onto it to keep it in. Out it went though. This is Harry Mills. He find a way over to Mackley. There was a rather industrious challenge that flew in, but the Seagulls were able to keep hold of possession through Howell. Now Mackley. Well, it's on a knife edge, this one. It's only the first half, but Luton have the slender lead. They look decent when they break forward. And the Seagulls dominating possession, as you'd expect at home, going behind to the early goal. Vickers, Mills wants it now. Moulton's made the run just ahead of Harry Mills. Goes for the aerial switch out to Moulton. Giwa kept his eyes on that one. Happy just to nod it out for the throw. Benaga is back there as well. Well, so far on this near side, Tyrrell Giwa and Benaga have been able to deal with Harry Howell. And also Joe Knight when he's making the run. It's fortunate there that Vickers just bounced back to him from Nelson, but may not be so fortunate now. Xavier Jones, McConville it was who had to face him up. Nelson then just skips away from a few challenges, but at least prevents the rapid counter from Luton, which is how they scored the only goal of the game so far, with just under 4 minutes played through Pinnington. It was down this near side, cut back along the deck, and this could be a chance for Benaga. Ferdinand has committed, and it is a penalty to Luton. And it's a yellow card for Ferdinand as well. Fully committed in the challenge, maybe off the floor as well when he made the tackle. Just a bit of worry because it was in behind McConville. And then as Benaga goes for the header, he's just clipped there by Lawrence Ferdinand. So with just under half an hour played, a great chance for the visitors to double their advantage through Zach Nelson, the England under-20. But also a great opportunity, perhaps, for some redemption for Ferdinand. Referee happy enough. And Nelson just readies himself and sends Ferdinand the wrong way. So the Seagulls do go a couple of goals behind with half an hour played here in the Premier League Cup. Calm and composed from Nelson. Ferdinand going the wrong way. And it's a long way back into this game now for Shannon Ruth's side. Well, they've looked pretty well drilled, have the Hatters, so far. They've been happy just to stay compact and deep enough, wait for the Albion errors, and then on the break, they've given the Brighton defenders plenty to think about, and they have 2 goals to show for it. So not the ideal start in both games this evening for the Brighton sides. 2-0 here to Luton. And the Seagulls women at the Emirates are 3-0 down. The only crumb of consolation perhaps that there is still just under an hour to go in both games. And we have seen the Seagulls turn around this kind of a deficit on a good few occasions down the years. Of course, they were firmly against the odds on Tuesday with the 10 men. Man disadvantage for 85 minutes on Tuesday night. Able to come away eventually with the 3-2 win. All 5 goals coming in the final 25 minutes. And Caelan Vickers with that memorable moment in the 93rd minute to win it. Now then, what can Moulton just conjure up here? Owusu, he's brought into play, fizzes it out now to Howell. It's good close control from Howell initially, just to bring it under his control. McConville just pointing where he wants his teammates to go. Knight was a slightly delayed option there, but they will find Bashir now. Faced up there by Pinnington, score of Luton Town's first. Knight is there in support. Now Mills, Owusu. McConville. Slilly moves forward. More than happy to stay deep, Luton. The game plan is working so far. Mills just hurdles that challenge as he moves in field. That opens up a bit of space for Moulton. Bashir is still out there as well, just hugging that touchline. And now those in orange just back off again. Bashir to Moulton. Mackley just about gets that back from Howell. And McConville has to turn for home. Well, they have reacted well to both goals, have the Seagulls. They need something to show for it. Goal before half-time would be hugely useful to halve the deficit, take the momentum going into the second 45. Still, we've got 11 minutes of this first period to go. Mills gets it there from Vickers. And again, Luton just stay tight, narrow and compact. Vickers just asks for his teammates to drop in. Owusu, closest to him, returns it. Now Moulton. Does Bashir keep that in? Play goes on for now. Well, they've got an incredible winning streak on the line. They've won the last 6 on the bounce, have Shannon Ruth's side, and they've scored 16 goals in the process, so they'll be desperate to find a way back into this contest. And the Luton coach, Alex Lawless, will be particularly thrilled with what he's seen so far in 35 minutes of this game tonight. Can't really have asked for much more, and there was a chance there for Nelson. Took that penalty to make it 2 a few moments ago. It just bounces out of play. There's a slight nick on it. That's a strong challenge in there from Owusu. Had it for a moment, and Belmont just closes down Johnson. Long ball again. Proved a nuisance in the lead up to the penalty. And they look threatening down that far side. Xavier Jones. That's a well-timed challenge in there from Knight. Goes to ground, gets the decision. Right in front of the official on that far side. right in that corner as well, where we get the odd view of decent fireworks display in that corner across Lancing. But again, you can see there Luton just backpedaling, making sure everybody's in the right positions, waiting for the Seagulls maybe just to make the error. Belmont it was dropping deep there, and Owusu, the first time ball inside of his boot, lofted, but it found its way over to Howell. They can't capitalise though, so Luton will look to break here with Banaga. Really well won that though by Mackley. His full debut this age group tonight. Smart in there as well with the challenge from Belmont. Owusu's just peeled out to this near side. Back it goes now to Mackley. Not for the first time. Luton more than happy for the Albion to just knock it around on halfway with that 2-goal buffer. Just under 8 minutes of this first half to go. There was a chance before a ball had been kicked for the Seagulls to go top of Group G in the Premier League Cup. That did depend on the other game taking place tonight between Burnley at Reading. And they're not doing their bit at the moment. Still, as I say, enough time. All of that second half and 7 minutes of this first 45 to go. Pinnington just square right there to Nelson. The goal scorers combining. Johnson just looking to bend one down the channel. And Giwa sprinting to try and keep it in play. Does really well to find a way back here to Banaga. Just trying to dig it out there was Howell, but Johnson will pick it up again. Oh, and that's a good challenge in there from Owusu. Seen that a couple of times in the last few moments. Just slips at the vital moment. May have injured himself there as well. Play goes on for now. Pinnington. Inside of him there is Kayabanda. And now an occasion for the Seagulls just to tuck in for a moment. Try and wait for their visitors to hand back possession. Johnson got it there from Giwa. Belmont it was, eventually pushing up. Smart work there from Benaga, just getting away from Knight, and I think it was Howell in there as well. Johnson needs to be careful here though. Belmont does really well. Got a toe end on it, but could only find Nelson. Xavier Jones. Not going to win it in an aerial duel against McConville, but it was bouncing, so McConville needed to bring that one down and play it into Ferdinand. Now Vickers, you can see where he wants his teammates to go. Vickers into the Luton half, up to Bashir. Just trying to spread out how often they go down each wings. They've seemed to have had it a bit more on this near side with Howell, helped out by Knight and Mackley. Bashir on that far side gone a bit quiet at times, but not so fruitful on this near side. So into the final 5 minutes of this first half. If you are just joining us here on My Albion TV live, as you can see there, the Seagulls 2 goals behind. The opener coming just short of 4 minutes in through Pinnington. And then they doubled their lead midway through this first half. Penalty, which Nelson stuck in. Bit of confusion between McConville and Ferdinand in the Seagulls goal. And that it was a relatively easy decision for tonight's referee, Neil Hare. Belmont does well to bring that down, and Mills can stab it forward now for Bashir. Touch on it there is from Francis Clark. Owusu into McConville. Mackley up to, well, he's looking for Howell. Again, a bit too much on it. That's been the only slight criticism of the Seagulls so far. Just in those kind of positions on either wing, they've just not quite been able to find the ball in behind on enough occasions to create a clear chance. In fact, Liam Coyne in the Luton goal has been relatively quiet. Maybe though Moulton can change that. It was cleared away by Francis Clark. And they take a nice quick throw in again. They can. So Vickers plays it up to Moulton. Back to him from Owusu. Once again, all the outfield players in the Luton half. What can they show for it though? Bashir's made the run down the left. Right idea over on that far side. Stepping in was Mills to win it back high up. And Moulton can have another go here. We'll need to be careful of the foul throw in there, Moulton, but we continue. Owusu. And again, the Luton coach, Alex Lawless, will not mind this at all with the little amount of chances that Brighton have had so far in this first half. Vickers now stepping forward. Mills. Bashir is ahead of him. So going down there was Moulton. Quickly back to his feet though. Bashir almost stumbles but is able to prod it back and away from Pinnington. Vickers once more just asking his teammates to show as an option. Mills down the line looking for Bashir. Francis Clark more than happy with the no-nonsense clearance into the stand on that far side. And in a hurry, they're back underway. McConville, the captain. Mackley, Howell. Maybe it's this time that the Seagulls can get one back. Howell away from Benniger, and it's just opened up for him here. Stumble from the Luton player in front of him. Owusu was looking to try and give it back to the England under-17's feet. Just a bit clumsy there off the ball as Luton won it back. Perhaps just could have pulled the trigger there, Harry Howell. The defender just slipped in front of him and there was a moment to have a shy at goal. Maybe that's what Shannon Ruth will be asking for a little more of in the second half, just to try and test Liam Coyne in the Luton goal. Have a go when they get the chance. Try and disrupt the rhythm of this game. Pinnington. Moulton just, as Bashir just wrestles him to ground there. And again, it's a fairly easy decision for the referee. So 2-0 here, 3-0 at the Emirates. Not going the Seagulls' way just at the moment. They just need to get in for half-time without conceding again. This is a decent position from the set piece. And the delivery isn't bad either. Away from McConville, and on the follow-up, Knight has to block on the line. And Kayabinda can't make the most of it as it falls to him. Just couldn't bring the ball down. A brilliant delivery in from the right. McConville gets something on it, falls to Nelson, and then Kayabinda is just bouncing a bit too much around him. Barely gets a touch on it, so it goes wide. So will that be a moment we look back on for Luton later in the game? 3 going into half-time. Well, it felt like almost curtains for the Seagulls as Francis Clark just half volleys one clear. Neatly done there by Mills to bring it down and play it back into Vickers. Now McConville, Mackley at the bottom of your screen is an option. Instead it's floated up towards Howell. That does just bounce out of play into added on time at the end of this first half. Well, not only do they want to keep this winning run going, but they've got the international break after this game as well. They just don't want to end this period of games on a sour note, but at half-time they do trail because of the Pinnington and Nelson goals. It was Nelson from the spot and Pinnington in the first 4 minutes. At half-time in the Premier League Cup, it's Albion 0, Luton 2. Well, welcome back to My Albion TV Live. We were just wondering if there were going to be any changes at half-time, and the answer to your question is in your screen there. Marcus Ifill and Jamie Mullins at least to come on for this second half. Wasn't the worst display actually from the Seagulls in that first half. They just didn't have enough shots on target. And Luton posed enough of a threat on the break. But Shannon Ruth and Gary Dicker are fortunate that they have options like Jamie Mullins and Marcus Ifill, and of course Caelan Vickers, who is on the bench. So I feel it will be to replace Bashir. And it was Owusu, the other to make way on the yellow card in that first half. Unfortunate, as Joe Knight, just some appeals against him there for that challenge on the edge of the centre circle, but we continue. So Owusu and Bashir off, Ifill and Mullins on. No Caelan Vickers just yet, like I say, but Jacob Vickers was looking for the ball into Joe Knight. Inventive volleyed clearance there, which Joe Knight tried to get down there. Moulton again, a live wire, just trying to win it back. Giving chase there is Belmont. Well, we know they're more than capable, this Seagulls side. Same can be said in the WSL. Currently, though, at the Emirates, the Seagulls trail by 3-0, back underway there. Couple of minutes ahead of us here at the Elite Football Performance Centre. And there's this winning streak on the line. They're looking to make it 7 on the bounce tonight. Wins against Aldershot on Tuesday, Southampton in the league last week, Wimbledon in the EFL Trophy, 3-0 that one. Derby, Real Sociedad and RB Leipzig, latter two in the Premier League International Cup, are the 6 so far, and ahead of the international break, just so important to try and keep that run, or at least avoid defeat perhaps. A 2-2 draw wouldn't look too bad after the starts. But Shannon Ruth and Gary Dicker, I'm sure, would have been very calm in the changing room. Not too many tweaks needed. A couple of changes in personnel. One of them is Ifill. Good ball into Mullins. The substitutes combining and behind for a corner. A couple of minutes played. Neat build-up play there from the Albion. Moulton, it is just trotting over to see if he needs a companion. Jamie Mullins with a short one. No, sent straight back into the area. Mullins with it. Good one towards the back post. McConville arriving. And the ball eventually bounces out. Well, we've seen that a good few occasions in the last month or so from McConville. Does everything to keep the ball in play and just head balls back across the 6-yard box. Can't quite keep it in this time. Knight with a chance fairly high up. Square now into Ifill, who's able to jump over the first challenge of Berenga there, but not the second. So Luton work it over to the far side and Brighton try to wrestle back possession. There go Ifill and Moulton on the press, and there's Belmont. He will latch onto it here. Mullins helped out by Knight. He's looking only on this near side, and that's a decent enough ball up to Moulton. Cushioned in now to Eiffel, one of the goal scorers from Tuesday night. Now McConville. Mullins around the corner. McConville still going. Good block in there. Another chance here maybe for Moulton. Leaves it instead for Howell. What kind of cross can he put into the area? It's deflected on its way through, so Vickers just dueling there just inside the Luton half, and again gets the benefit of the doubt. Vickers. Bit more pace and a little bit more slick from the Seagulls as Moulton goes down. Again, they're in a rush, the Seagulls, understandably. They want to find this first goal back as soon as they can. How about that? It's a delightful ball there from Knight out to Howell. There go the step-overs. And in comes the cross. That's nice from Howell as well. Does find the delivery in. McConville, who's just being allowed to get so far forward at times alongside of Vickers. He'll want to get one over on his old side, Jacob Vickers, in his second season with the Albion after the move from Kenilworth Road. Here he is again, just striding forward. Moulton just took his eye off it though, and the attack fizzles out. So just to mark your cards then, at the Amex tomorrow, tea time kickoff. Manchester City, the visitors to the Amex in the Premier League. As Mackley just heads that one back to the feet of Benedict Benega. Now Giwa, well claimed there by Ferdinand. So Manchester City in the Premier League tomorrow, and then international break for Premier League 2 and the Premier League, but not for the WSL. A week tomorrow at the Amex, the Seagulls host West Ham in the WSL. You can still get your tickets now, be a part of it at the Amex. Always a good atmosphere for the WSL games. Dario Vidosic's side. Brighton and HoveAlbion.com. Head to tickets and secure your seat now. Lovely ball in there from Knight to Mullins, who collects it well enough as well. And then he leaves it for Howell. Low ball in from Mackley. Can't get past Johnson. High press working a little bit better as well in this second half from the Seagulls. So that bounces out of play. Ready for McConville. Mills gives it back to Vickers. Knight always a willing option. So too Mackley, who's looked assured on his full debut for the under-21s tonight. Moving as a unit well, up to Belmont, back to goal. And these are the kind of positions where players just fizzled out in the first half, but here goes Moulton. Now Eiffel. Build-up play improving. Now McConville. He's in his stride to have a go, but instead he's played it into Mullins, trying to get his foot in. Closing up was Moulton, and McConville had continued his run. Oh, Knight's lost out here. Counter-attacking opportunity for the visitors. Well-timed challenge initially from Callum Mackley, but he's got more work to do over on that far side. Benega towards that back post and slightly flaps at it there, Ferdinand. Eiffel is back there on hand. Now Pinnington. Pinnington to hit it. Comfortable enough save to his left by Ferdinand. Danger not averted just yet. Xavier Jones now. Comes back to him. That's a good turn and can have a hit. Ferdinand can claim it. Well, the score of Luton's first tonight was just given enough space on the angle there to have a shy at goal. It's one you would expect Ferdinand to make, but gets everything behind it. Oh, perhaps the referee just picked up a slight knock there. So this will give us a chance for a bit more housekeeping as well. If you're just joining us here on My Albion TV Live, as you can see, the Seagulls trail by 2-0. Both goals coming pretty much in the first half an hour. Took less than 4 minutes for Luton to take the lead through Jacob Pinnington. Ball cut across to him from the left in the area, and then just places it into the bottom left corner. And then just after the half-hour mark, it was Nelson from the penalty spot after a bit of a mix-up between Ferdinand and McConville as they were backtracking. A couple of substitutions at the break. Eiffel and Mullins are on the pitch for this second half. Arsenal 3 goals to the good at the Emirates in the WSL against the Seagulls. As I say, West Ham United at the Amex a week tomorrow. And at the Amex tomorrow, we've got Manchester City in the Premier League. But this is not looking too good for Neil Hare, just hobbling off here. So one would imagine it would be the 4th official, Lisa Ben, to take his place. Well, it looked fairly innocuous. I couldn't actually pick out when it was that the referee picked up the knock, when he collided with one of the players, or maybe it was just something off the ball where he's just maybe had his foot stuck in the grass here. It's normally in very good nick, as you can see the pitch on the American Express Elite Football Performance Centre. Very fortunate, but not so fortunate for Neil Hare. So as you can see, the players just trying to stay as warm as they can. There is another game in Group G of the Premier League Cup. Reading trail Burnley by 2-1 at Reading. So Burnley will be going a few points clear at the top of Group G. Seagulls it was who lost 2-0 at Turf Moor to Burnley last time out in the Premier League Cup. Before that, 4-0 victors over Reading at home in September. And then after the international break, it will be another Premier League Cup fixture for Shannon Ruth's side. 20th of November, that's a Wednesday. They travel to Reading. And then 6 days later, they host Anderlecht in the Premier League International Cup. Have to wait until the 1st of December before they return to Premier League 2 action. Taking on Arsenal, as I say, who the Seagulls are playing in the WSL this evening. But as you can see, we are just waiting to see what the change will be. And it will be Lisa Ben. So it looks as though Neil Hare will be well enough to continue as 4th official, and Lisa Ben and so while Lisa Ben's just being mic'd up, we'll take a look at some of the highlights from earlier. Okay, so almost good to go. Just a switcheroo, really, with Neil Hare as 4th official and Lisa Ben now taking over. Back underway. Never ideal for that kind of a stoppage for the players, but they tried their best to stay as mobile as they could, stay warm. So it'll also be interesting to see how much time will be added on in half an hour and whether the Seagulls have made amends and cut the deficit, or even better, but getting back into the game. Vickers sends that one down towards Belmont. He's frustrated with himself. He's just trying to pluck it out of the sky. It's a tricky technique to master. So out it goes. The message from near side in the dugout is just to try and keep the visitors penned in. Ifill does get there first. Moulton had a sniff, and Ifill just lurking there as well. Moulton once more. That's a free kick against Jamie Mullins. Just turns around the corner, rides the challenge. Easy decision for the referee. So Mullins and Howell over it. Mullins looks to be the favourite. Plenty of jostling on the edge of the area. It is indeed Mullins. Good looking delivery, flicked away as far as Mills, who maybe just doesn't quite know what to do with that then, gets caught in a few minds perhaps. Not really a shot at goal, and maybe was thinking, could he just cushion it back inside? But as it is, wide it goes. Nice work though from Mills to nick that one back, and this is Mullins. Knight back into Vickers, and you can see there the Hatters just waiting for their moment before they hurry forward and commit. Ferdinand almost up at the centre circle there, which shows just how happy Luton are at staying deep off the ball. Belmont found a way to Ifill. Now Vickers. This certainly hasn't been the problem so far tonight. They've been able to wait for the right moments, but it's in those areas there where they've really struggled just to find a telling touch. But Mills, excellent work to win it back. Moulton just with him. Doesn't get the ball right, but here goes Ifill again. Pinnington behind him. Marcus Ifill. That's a free kick. Well, throws himself to ground, Ifill, but there was a touch. And perhaps another chance from the set piece for Jamie Mullins. He's called up to the Ireland under-21 squad for the first time this week. He's now up to 38 league appearances with the under-21s. He scored 7 goals, 5 assists, so a really promising position to add to that tally. Former Bohemians player, same club that the Seagulls got Evan Ferguson from. He's just staring down the goal here. Can he halve the deficit? Mullins looking for that top left corner. Not enough dip on it. So it stays Brighton 0, Luton 2 for now. 27 minutes to go. I say 27 minutes to go, but if you are just joining us, there was a rather lengthy stoppage with the first referee for tonight, Neil Hare, just picking up a slight injury. So he's now 4th official, and Lisa Ben is on to officiate as referee for the remainder. Oh, and goal scorer number 2 for Luton just hurdles the challenge, and this is Benega. Faced up though by McConville initially, so forced back to Giwa. Benega again. Good work as a group off the ball from the Seagulls to push back Luton. Nice again though from Pinnington, helped on this near side for Lorentzen Jones. First time ball across isn't a bad one, and it needed that flick on by Vickers. Johnson now. This is Giwa on his weaker foot there. Just helped on Lorentzen Jones. They had almost a couple of players over though. If Xavier Jones was able to get more of a connection on that, even more of a flick, they may have been in on this near side of the area, but Seagulls are able to come away with it. McConville. McConville lifts one forward now to Belmont. Still enough time for the Seagulls. And a couple more changes here then, with Louis Flower being readied. Also there is Caelan Vickers and Freddie Simmons as well. You can see Shannon Ruth just giving the details to Freddie Simmons. So off comes Moulton, so to Belmont. McConville is the other player to head off, so there's a couple of attacking changes there with Vickers and Flower now on the pitch as well. Knight's got all the time in the world there. Once again, Luton continuing with the game plan. Both teams appealing for the throw-in decision. And with 67 minutes played just under, it's working perfectly, this plan for Alex Lawless's side. Onus very much on the Seagulls to apply the pressure, find the finishes. They need at least two of them. Bit too intricate that from Knight, so back it goes from Francis Clark and looped up towards halfway by Liam Coyne. Headed straight back there by Simmons. So this throw-in right in front of Gary Dicker and Shannon Ruth. Going in there was Mills. Now Mullins. Maybe this could be the chance where it's opened up. Oh, that's inventive. Scooped up to Louis Flower. Hasn't stayed on side, though. Promising signs, though, for the Seagulls. That was a bit of innovation there from Jamie Mullins, just to scoop it over. And had he timed his run a bit better there, Flower was in one-on-one. So straight out of play, just over 21 minutes of the 90 to go. It's another reminder, we're going to have a good few minutes added on because of the change to the referees. So more than enough. But they just want to get that first goal back as soon as they can, so that it doesn't become too panicky in the last 10 minutes or so. Changes have been made by Shannon Ruth with enough time, I felt. Just a bit of ill discipline there, not keeping on side. Francis Clark looking down the line and inside, waiting for the movement from his teammates. Hoisted up. Easy enough clearance there from Vickers. Mullins again is quick on the scene. Gets away from Kayabanda. This is Howell. He's able to just shrug off the challenge there of Nelson. Vickers dropping in deep. Caelan Vickers, now Mullins. Looking for the return into Caelan Vickers. Just looking for that half yard. Instead he can find Howell. First time from Mullins. It's a bit behind Caelan Vickers and he's not able to keep that one in. Well, the build-up play is getting better from the Seagulls, but once again, Liam Coyne just not being kept busy enough by the Seagulls strikers and midfielders. Vickers goes back into Ferdinand. Now Simmons. Well, it was Mackley just asking a bit too much of Caelan Vickers on that far side. And that has been the difference so far tonight. Showing good intent with the possession and keeping hold of it as they move forward, but it's just with the basics at times of just finding a teammate, moving on and then having a go at goal. Louis Flowers, another who'll want to catch up in the goal scoring stakes as well. He's got 3 in all competitions, wanting to get up alongside a Duffus and Howell. And there he goes now. Doesn't go out of play, so Giwa just makes sure. Nice cushioned header in there from Mackley, and there's a decision that goes in the favour of Joe Knight there. Wasn't particularly happy with the challenge that came in on him, so yellow card in there, and Joe Knight's just got a few more words for the Luton player there. So another good position for the free kick. Harry Howell stands alone on top of this one. Just again pointing his teammates to where he wants them, making sure they're staying on side as well as the first bit of discipline here. Left-footed in towards that back post, and well, the decision was made pretty quickly there by Lisa Ben. I think rather than the offside, that was a free kick in there. Johnson, left-footed and long up towards Xavier Jones. A bit of a mismatch between Simmons and Xavier Jones, so Simmons wins it. And then just jumping in there was Mullins, bursting forward. Flower can't profit though, so back it goes into Coyne. He lifts this one out to Pinnington. Mills is quickly on the scene, so too is Eiffel there, who's able to juggle it away from Kayabanda. Good move this from the Seagulls. Jamie Mullins bearing down on the edge of that area, but look at how many Luton Town shirts are around him. Credit to the visitors. Almost a shield on the edge of their own area. And in a flurry, they're down the other end here with Baganda. Mackley with some important defending there. They broke away quickly, as they have at times, waiting for the right moment to commit enough players forward. And they've got a corner as a result. Up there goes the captain, Jack Bateson. So just got to weather this Luton Town storm for a moment. Decent delivery away by Simmons. Helping out there is Howell. Flowers made a good run ahead of him. Knocked forward by Howell. Didn't make it as far forward as Vickers, He can't bring it under his spell, but neither can Luton, so this is Mullins. Oh, and Flower hadn't got away there. Eiffel wanted it on this near side as well as we approach quarter of an hour to go. Well, it's looking tricky for the Seagulls here with the 2-goal disadvantage, but it's looking even worse for Dario Vidicic's side. They're now 4-0 down in the WSL at the Emirates. Lena Hurtig with the latest goals, 4 different goal scorers for the hosts this evening. So that is probably game over in North London. This one, not quite so much. Substitutions have been made. It wasn't necessarily that the starting 11 weren't capable enough, but there's just a different intensity about the way that the Seagulls are playing now, as Eiffel was just looking to thread that through there to Vickers. Back now with Jacob Vickers. Knight up to Mullins. Pretty much all the Albion players in the Luton Town half again. Almost static there for a moment. Been very disciplined, have the away side tonight, and they might just cap it off here. This is Xavier Jones. Nelson was almost in, but that's a really important intervention by Jacob Vickers. Nelson was in there, but for that slight touch from Jacob Vickers. He's impressed, and it may get better here. Flower, can he get there ahead of the sliding in Jack Bateson? Well, that's hugely impressive from Bateson there. He almost kept it in play after the slide-in challenge. As it is, Vickers can just maraud infield. Passes it to his namesake, Jacob Vickers. Again, Kalen picks it up now. Goal now, and the complexion totally changes on this Group G game in the Premier League Cup. Smartly done there by Eiffel. Looks just to shift infield, and it's now with Knight, who plays it back out to Eiffel. It has looked good when he's just tried to skip away from Kayabanda on a few occasions. Did it the second time there away from Pinnington. Vickers helps it on first time. Now Mackley out to Howell. Again, just a little bit more zip about the build-up play, but it's just that finish they're looking for, as Mullins was almost played in there. Well tracked by Francis Clark, and Coyne was off his line quick enough. Flower closes down the Johnson clearance. Jacob Vickers is there, gets the first touch on it, but this is Lorenzen Jones. Pinnington. That's a good ball, just lifted into the area. So now Albion head on it, but Gilwer will play on. Now Benega. Kayabanda. Lorenzen Jones to have a go. And well, Ferdinand was pretty much rooted there. A few yards to the right, and that could have been the end of this one for the Seagulls. Just doesn't quite get enough power on the strike, so maybe Ferdinand might have been able to fling himself at it. It remains the Seagulls 0, Luton Town 2. Little over 11 minutes of the 90 to go. Jacob Vickers now up to Joe Knight. Knight on this near side. Well, Eiffel was not ready for it, and they're just not clicking at the moment. I mentioned about that 10-minute mark where it starts perhaps for a bit of desperation to creep in, even with 5 minutes to go. If they can find a goal then, still well in the contest, and once again the mission ahead of them is just keeping them deep in their own territory. Eiffel does that, shrugs off the challenge, gets a low ball in, but neither Howell nor Kalen Vickers close enough to it. And that's the first real sign we've seen of a bit of making the most of their time and taking their time. Coin there, just waiting before he picks that one up. Determined play there from Benega on the far side, and well, there's a few nibbles coming in there from the Seagulls players, but gets the decision just short of halfway. Johnson sends another one long. Unchallenged there is Freddie Simmons, so Mullins can then play it back into Callum Mackley, who despite this scoreline has looked pretty composed on the ball, mature as he can be on his full debut for Shannon Ruth's side. And Jacob Vickers has looked relatively impressive as well against his old employers. Floats that one up towards Caelan Vickers, brings it down nicely enough, but once again, the Luton defenders are more than capable of snuffing that one out, just converging on the ball really well to overturn possession. It does go out for the throw-in though, so Knight, again, you can just see slightly vexed there with the options he has inside of him. Mackley just inverted there for a moment. Simmons up to Flower. Again, look at the shirts around him. He finds a good ball out to that far side. Giwa has got Howell to deal with. Bit of juggling, looking for the overhead kick for a moment there. Might have another go here. Oh, and it almost went out for the corner. Just at the last moment, Howell swung a boot at that, and that's what took it behind for the goal kick. So, international break for Shannon Ruth and Gary Dicker's side after tonight. They return with the Premier League Cup again when they come back in a couple of weeks' time. Trip to Reading, beat them 4-0 in September to get the campaign up and running. There's then a defeat away at Turf Moor last month in the second game. It looks like it could be the same scoreline here tonight. The rest of the weekend, though, we've got Premier League action at the Amex tomorrow tea time against Manchester City. And then next week, it won't be the international break, though, in the WSL. So the Seagulls host West Ham at the Amex in the WSL. One to look forward to. Tickets are still available. Eiffel to have a go. Deflection! Oh, and he was rooted there, was Coyne. Oh, we just haven't seen enough of that from the Albion. Just having a pop can cause the error, find a way back. It's gone behind for the corner. Just opened up there for Marcus Eiffel to let fly. Does get the shot away, looping deflection on it. In then from the corner. Headed away as clear as Mills, who's just forced over to that far side. Benega it is, looking for the ball forward. Between the two Albion players for a moment, they were just looking at each other to see who would win it back. This is Vickers, almost operating as a left back temporarily. Decent play that from Caelan Vickers. On a sixpence turning there is Jamie Mullins. Now Eiffel. All the substitutes looking lively. Eiffel towards the back post, and there's too much on that, bending over and wide behind, and just head down. Last 6 minutes of the 90. Well, we haven't seen a Luton Town substitution just yet. This is the opener. Gilwer on this near side was able to find Benega, cut across, and Pinnerton arriving just at the right time. That was just short of 4 minutes played, giving Luton the lead. And then this was the incident for the second. Just clipped forward, and there's a bit of confusion between McConville and Ferdinand. Ferdinand had committed. McConville must have saw him out the corner of his eye, and Nelson from the spot was clinical enough into that bottom left corner. And in the second half, it's been a very similar pattern of play. Visitors have been more than happy to let the Albion dictate possession, because they just haven't had enough shots on goal. Stayed narrow, stayed compact, but on the break posed enough of a threat as well, and that's continued into this second half. They haven't found a third, but they've had a few chances just to finish this one off. But as we draw closer to the 90-minute mark, it looks more and more likely for the side from Bedfordshire. Well, he won't be too displeased with that, will Liam Coyne? Yellow card for time wasting. Every second counts at this stage. Eventually he does hit it long. It's straight onto the head of Eiffel. And now Luton are happy enough just to hit it clear with a bit of hope rather than accuracy. Almost worked for them. Substitution there. Charlie Trustram was lurking. If it's going to happen, it needs to happen now for Shannon Root's side. Caleb Vickers able to find Simmons. Just gets his studs on top of that. Flower will pick it up. Caleb Vickers. Stayed over on that far side as an option for Harry Howell. Mackley. Going down there is Howell. Referee didn't seem as though he was going to give it. Lovely sliding effort that from Knight to win it back though, just as Luton looked like they were going to spring forward. Jacob Vickers. Eiffel, can he get away from Pinnington? Gets the low ball in. They clear once again. Joe Knight arriving. Switch it over now to Howell. Mackley will try to join in if he can. Harry Howell though to hit it, deflection, off the line, and it is eventually helped in. So there is a lifeline for the Seagulls. May have been Eiffel who got the final touch. Well, they haven't thrown in the towel. It was Harry Howell who had been persisting on that far side. He steps inside a Gilwer, lets fly, flick on the way through off the underside of the crossbar. And I think that's an own goal there from Francis Clark. Eiffel doing just enough to put him off. Well, I said it earlier that we may be looking at how many minutes will be added on with interest, and that's certainly the case now for the Seagulls. They have found a way back into this game. And of course, the momentum swings in their favour now. Simmons allowed forward. Howell, who was at the heart of that Albion goal. Knight. Caleb Vickers. Jacob Vickers now to Mills. Again, the foundations to the attack are decent. Can they find just another finish? Caelan Vickers just looking to bamboozle Kayabanda. Simmons, Jacob Vickers. Look at how far forward they are, the outfield players of the Seagulls. That's a neat flick on there in towards Mills, who was just fizzed into his feet, so kind of bounces off his shins and into the grateful hands of Liam Coyne. Well, apart from the goal, he really hasn't had that much to do, Liam Coyne, but now they're really up against it to hang on to this 1-goal lead. Again, they look to this near side. 10 minutes we're hearing added on to the end of this one. And that will be a boost to those Seagulls players. Can just play their normal game now as they look for that second and an equaliser. They get a goal soon enough. They may well be on for another heroic finale. And potentially the same scoreline as Tuesday night. Mullins has made the run ahead of Harry Howell. Instead, he makes progress infield. Knight has got Jacob Vickers to his left, but looking over to that far side again. This is how they got back into the game on that right edge of the area. This time they're able to play it out with Nelson. But again, hunting in packs now are the Seagulls. That's a little bit clumsy there, though, from the substitute Simmons. So a couple of changes for the visitors. Coming on, Matthew Takawira. He's coming on to replace Xavier Jones, who's just become a little bit more isolated. They haven't needed him when they were 2 goals up. Also coming off is Jack Lawrenson-Jones. He's to be replaced by Dominic Dos Santos Martins. So just a few more seconds gobbled up by the visitors, but there is still just under 8 minutes of the added on time to go. And we're hearing it at the Emirates. There's a chance from the spot for Arsenal to make it 5-0. Jacob Vickers with another firm header forward, and now they play it back into Ferdinand, looking left then right. I'm sad to report it is now Arsenal 5, Brighton 0. Mills back to Jacob Vickers. Just a pocket of space there for Knight to work with, and he did find Caelan Vickers, helped on by Jamie Mullins. Sprinting there is Harry Howell to try and keep it in play. Faced up by Giwa. They still definitely believe here to Shannon Ruth's side. This is Jamie Mullins now. Back to Howell, who's really come to life towards the end of this game. And that's a good looking ball over to Ifill, who from about 3 yards out has put it wide. Well, despite him being so close to goal, it was a tricky one just to divert goalwards. May have been better just getting out of the way. Venomous ball in. You can see what he's trying to do there, Ifill. In the end, it's turned out as a clearance. So now the chance is coming thick and fast for the Seagulls. Maybe they've timed this right. Jacob Vickers does the sensible thing there. Keeps his team in it. Out for the throw it goes. Pinnington will just take his time. Well, it just becomes about how many they leave forward and how many they commit backwards to try and overturn possession from this throw-in. Easy enough, it's nodded in field to Knight. Back to goal now is Mullins. That's a clever turn there from Jamie Mullins, and then the shirt is just dragged off him. got to be careful there. Shirt was almost ripped off him. Yellow card there for, I think it might be the captain, Jack Bateson. Substitute Takawira there just stepping in the way. You can hear cries of wait from Lisa Ben. Just wanted to make sure she'd finished writing off the name of the Luton Town player in her book. Joe Knight eager to get back underway, which we are now. And Howell, who's carrying so much of a threat towards the end here. Caelan Vickers into Jacob Vickers. Eiffel just shows a bit too much of that to Pinnington. Oh, and then not the best challenge in from Marcus Eiffel. Just needs to gather himself here and not get drawn into anything. Well, it was Eiffel who lost the ball, and then a clumsy challenge. He probably knew he wasn't going to get there. Decides to try and take the man. And for the reaction, Lisa Ben has also booked Pinnington. So we see it here. Makes it a bit too easy for Pinnington to stride away from Eiffel, and then that is a poor challenge. So probably about right from the referee there. A yellow for each player. So a little under 4 minutes of the 10 added on. Just help forward up to Nelson. Mills it is, just shepherding him out further right. Mills and Mullins down there. Just want to steal back possession as quickly as they possibly can. But Nelson, more than a nuisance there, right on the byline. Eiffel as well needs to be careful. Bit of a shrug in there from him. Knight then goes flying in. Corner kick though. Well, it's never over until it's over for this Albion side, as we saw in midweek. And they still have 2.5 minutes to find a leveller. Louis Flower has got Howell ahead of him. Just stretches out there to get it before Giwa, who can prod it away. Back it goes to Knight. There's space again on this near side. They have utilised both flanks pretty well, pretty evenly as well, to try and keep Luton on the back foot. It's been especially the case since the Seagulls have found that goal back because of the own goal. It was Howell firmly involved in the build-up. Mullins. Once more it's Giwa in the way. Once more Howell can deliver. Oh, and just over from Flower. Well, he's posed more and more of a threat as Harry Howell as this game has gone on. He gets away from Giwa. It's a splendid delivery in, and Flower just can't get over the header enough. Still Brighton 1, Luton 2. Well, I still think there's another chance in this one for the Seagulls. Maybe a little bit of added on time to added on time. Jacob Vickers over to Simmons. On that far side, it's Mackley, continues his run ahead of Howell. Now Jacob Vickers. Eiffel and Caelan Vickers the options. Have to give credit to Luton, they have defended well for the majority of the evening. Simmons Out now to Howell. It's been a familiar pattern at the end of this game. Into the 100th minute we go. Is there to be another fairy tale finish for the Seagulls? They will have deserved it if they can find an equaliser. And there goes Harry Howell again. They're doubling up on him now, but he's still going. Really impressive display from Howell, and he gets the ball across. It's into Harry Mills. Oh, big chance there for Mills, and he can only place it straight into the hands of Coyne. That was the chance. He's been such a live wire as Howell. He finds another delivery in. It falls to Mills. Falls to him nicely enough. He has time to pull the trigger, but it's straight at Coyne, and it's still Brighton 1, Luton 2. And again, Howell goes forward. Mackley with the ball in. Up and away by Francis Clark and into the hands of Coyne again. Well, that might just be the end of it. And if they aren't to have another chance, well, they can look back at the way they finished this game with a lot of heart, so much spirit towards the end. But it might not be enough. We're into that added on time of added on time. This is the substitute Takawira. They're just asking for him to go to the corner, and he obliges. Mills sliding in there. The seconds tick away. It will be a Luton corner. And they may have done just enough. Bit of cramp in there, it looks like, for Jacob Vickers. Ball comes in. Now Mullins, helped on tonight. Is there time for just one more chance? Hoisted forward, up towards Howell. He gets ahead on it, but there's no one ahead of him, so Johnson can retreat. And Coyne sends it long, and that is it. Well, a great shift from Shannon Ruth's side. They did everything they could at the end there. They went in at 2-0 down at half-time. They found a way back into it with just over a minute of the 90 to go. We had the 10 minutes added on. Big chance for Mills right at the end, but they just couldn't find that equaliser. It finishes Albion 1, Luton 2 in the Premier League Cup.